Evening. This is a story that has just gone wild online today. The city of San Francisco is considering an idea to pay $5 million each to Black residents as reparations for slavery. It's one of 100 recommendations made by a city board which wants to address social inequities in the city. In addition to the one-time payments, they also recommend the elimination of all personal debt and tax burdens. There would be guaranteed income of at least $97,000 a year for 250 years and homes for as little as $1. Of the 50,000 Black people who live in the city, it is not totally clear who would be eligible, but the group is focusing on descendants of both enslaved people and those incarcerated for drugs. But would this actually happen? Well, supervisors in the city said that they can't afford to do any more major reparation payments right now, but are interested in the idea. They could recommend any parts of it. As the AP reports, critics say the payouts don't make sense in a state and city that never enslaved Black people. If it went through, one analyst said it would cost each non-Black family in the city $600,000. This is separate, by the way, from the state's reparations task force created by Governor Gavin Newsom back in 2020.
We always say the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
These are the voices of New Afrika. These are the voices of New Afrika. These are the voices of New Afrika. Free in the land, and we ain't asking y'all.
So of the Voices of New Afrika, the show where we educate the uneducated and re-educate the miseducated. I'm your host, Brother Prophecy, and of course, riding with me is my comrade, my brother in the struggle, the none other Brother Fadale. How you doing, Brother Fadale? Hold on, man.
Great, Uhuru, freedom.
Uhuru, freedom.
Yeah.
That's correct. Freedom in our lifetime, no doubt. As you heard in the opening, we were talking about this proposal of reparations draft that was just released in San Francisco that make suggestion that like it was like 100 recommendation. On the top of that was $5 million for each African person, descendant of African descent in San Francisco. Other suggestions. Each family receive a household for like $1, a minimum salary of $97,000 a year, as well as the elimination of debt and some other suggestions. So we've been saying that the conversation about reparation is out there. The cat is out the box, and it's going to get louder and louder. So, I mean, what's your conversation about that?
Okay, so as I heard more of what they're proposing, it sounds like it may be a 50%. I mean, 50,000 people, African descent in San Francisco, which is a very small number of people. I think the African population is less than 20% of the population of San Francisco. If it was possible to do minuscule, reparations on a level where we had to go to each city or each state or to get reparations, I think it would render the whole thing about reparations as being something that is not going to be as broad as it should be. So that's why when we talk about reparations, usually when we talk about reparations, people who are given reparations ultimately who have after they have won a war or something, a war has been fought, and somebody like Germany in World War II, was forced to pay reparations. I think Germany was forced to pay reparations in World War I and World War II. In World War I, they took away the colonies of Germany, that was in Africa. They took away Southwest Africa, which is called Namibia today. They took away Tanzania, which was Tanganyika at that time, we was under German domination, and then they forced German to pay reparations on the European continent, for that time, and it created a situation in the Second World War where Germany was trying to get back the colony, its colonialism was trying to, and then they wound up with the so-called final solution, which they had killed millions of people, including Jews. And so after World War II, the Germans have been forced to pay reparations to the state of Israel. My point is, reparations usually, if it's paid to it's like in one sum or one lump, a series of lump sums or whatever, and land. The state of Israel was created as a result of the Germans supposedly they created the Jews with the so-called final solution, and so the European Jews, many of them out of Poland and different places like that, moved to Israel. They had already set up Palestine. Many of them had already been set up in Palestine by the British, under the British, and so that reparation, in other words, the British said that Jews had a right to a homeland in Palestine. And so consequently, the state of Israel, when the United States took over from Britain in that area, and because Britain didn't want to set up the state of Israel the way, the Israelis basically had their own paramilitary organization called the Stern Gang, and they were able to assassinate one of the British ambassadors, and Britain took her hands off, and the United States came in and wrapped a bunch, helped to create the state of Israel by making some agreements with some Arab countries, that were surrounding Palestine. And I wanted to make that point to say that when we talk about reparation, it should be a single payment, that will go to the whole people, and not to individuals. And so because it's problematical talking about how much money to give to individuals, and so although the United States did give Japanese Americans, so-called Japanese Americans, gave them $18,000 apiece for putting them in concentration camps in World War II. So there's a precedent for that. But if you want to talk about money, that the Japanese went ahead and accepted that, even though they had lost all kind of land. They had lost Silicon Valley and all stuff in California, So their land was not given back to them, to my knowledge, or any land was given back to them. To my knowledge, they only received that $18,000, which is a pittling for what they had done and putting them in concentration camps in World War II. And these were so-called American citizens, and so they were not Japanese enemies, but Canada and the United States put them in concentration camps. And since that time, they've apologized and they've given a little piddling some money to those people they put in concentration camps. So this thing in San Francisco, it would be a boost, but let me say this: in San Francisco, there's a limited number of Black people that have been allowed to live. There are many homeless, in the Bay Area, many homeless Black folks, they're pushed out of San Francisco. They live in Oakland and some other areas in the Bay Area because they couldn't afford to live in expensive, high price San Francisco.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Because I want to go to our social people out there in social media checking us out. I see you out there. El Abdul Muhammad, how you doing? He actually chimed in and he echoed something you actually just said. He said, I wish they would stop it with this. San Francisco ain't giving black folks nothing but continued hell. You have to, let me see, the city, I'm not sure what he meant by that. It's makeup and it's administration. San Francisco is the same city that paid drug fiends to not use, which also contributed to the homeless problem. California has the worst homeless problem in the entire country except Sacramento. Well, Sacramento is in California. The state capital. So yeah, thank you for that comment, brother Abdul Muhammad. Appreciate you always checking in as always. What's up, Susan Rogers? I see you out there checking in. Good afternoon. Free the land to you. And Melly Queen, I see you on the scene. Peace and power, comrades and families. How's everybody doing? We're doing Black Tablets on this day, and we're talking about reparations. San Francisco, they recently, released a recommendation for reparations where you give $5 million to every black person, as well as some other recommendations. And I've read some about this. I haven't read the whole thing, but one thing that I saw that was missing that I haven't seen was land in an area in which we could control and we could build upon ourselves and create our own independent institutions and run the system in which we see fit. And that to me is problematic. Anytime you're talking about reparations, it cannot simply be a dollar figure. It has to be more than just a dollar figure, because a dollar figure, regardless of how much, I know $5 million sound really, really good. I could use $5 million. We all could, but that's not going to solve the problems that we face, because we always say reparations, the root word of reparation is repair. And the reason why we need to be repaired is because we've been damaged under this system for over 500 years. And it pointed out, like you said, reparations, they're talking about doing something in San Francisco. Well, it needs to be a national, really a global solution for reparations, because we have globally been damaged. This is a global system of oppression, white supremacy, capitalism, exploitation, and all of the brutality, the brutal oppressive systems that black people have suffered under. Black people and other people around the world have been suffering under for centuries and centuries. So, I think it's an interesting proposal. I'm glad that it's out in the mainstream so we can talk about it, so we can have the opportunity to educate and reach more people about the concepts and ideas of independence and why reparations are important and why they are owed to us. And everybody has agreed. The international community has agreed that white people, that the United Snakes owe black people reparations. That was something that was, determined a long time ago. The UN even said that. The UN was created by them for their purposes. But I just use this as an opportunity to educate people and to help to control the narrative about reparations. Don't let them try to tell us that, okay, we just get a check, now we're good. Shut up. Everything's all good and equal. Reparations we have to deal with land, we have to deal with institutions, we have to deal with control, we have to deal with all of the people who have been damaged by this system of oppression, not just the people in San Francisco. I see my comrade Kakayi off scene right now. How you doing, comrade? Let me open your mic up. Oh, you already did it for you. I think I just closed it back up. I'm sorry. How you doing, bro?
Wonderful. Glad to be here. I just wanted, since our motto is to educate the uneducated and re-educate the miseducated. What we first have to recognize with the, I would call it the stimulus package in San Francisco, if you will, is that when you're dealing with a capitalist system, the catalyst of a capitalist system is the consumer. We're going to always be the consumer in this system here in the United States. And because of that, we have to recognize how the catalyst or the consumer benefits the powers to be. When you get the money, it's got to go right back to them because you don't own anything. You got to buy your food from them. You got to buy your clothes from them. You got to buy your housing from them. You got to buy your cars from them. So the money that you're getting is actually a stimulus of their own economic system. Think about how willingly they were able to give us stimulus money through COVID-19, because they knew we were going to have to give it back to them. So that meant technically that during COVID-19, the people who own businesses really got the stimulus money, because once we got it in our hands, we had to give it right back to them to purchase whatever we needed to survive. And so it's not going to do us any benefit just to get money alone. And if we do get some money, it should be earmarked to the development of the Republic of New Afrika, so we can have a nation to stand by and begin to be self-sufficient. If we are not looking to be self-sufficient, this is just we beating what they say, you're trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip. You're not doing anything for yourself unless you're going to earmark that money to make sure that it's a part of the development and the creation of a new black nation on the Western Hemisphere. So when they talk about giving us money, remember the benefactor of us getting money is never us, it's them. You go into debt. You might be able to buy a house with a mortgage that you'll have to pay until you die. Your children won't be able to maintain the taxes on it, so it's their property, no matter how you look at it, because as soon as your children inherit that property, they won't be able, for the most part, won't be able to afford the taxes, and they would have to forfeit the housing that you purchased with their money back to them so that they could sell it to us again. And it's a vicious cycle of being a consumer. We can no longer accept money alone. Grandmaster Teacher said it earlier in the radio program. Money alone is not the answer. Or was it you, Brother Prophecy? So
both of us.
Yeah, so let's be realistic. We have to focus on the needs of our people. We have to start thinking more in terms of collectivity so that we together can benefit from being independent as an independent nation of people. And we're having Nation Day in South Carolina, March the 31st through April the 2nd. If you guys can come, you can watch. We're going to try to do everything we can as a broadcasting network to get that information out to you guys. Hopefully we can develop something that would allow us to interact with the audience. But the best possible thing for any of you to do that's listening to us and watching us on Facebook is to participate in Nation Day and get a detailed, full analysis of what we're doing as a people and what we want as a people. And that's land, our own independence, our own economic.
That's real quick. And on Nation Day, if you can't attend in person, you can actually attend through the Zoom conference. I believe it's gonna. Let me see what's that. It's going to be broadcast through Zoom, and you can actually sign up through that through Eventbrite. I'm pretty sure we're going to have more information about that. Meta Queen, if you out there, if you got the information on how they can attend the conference through Zoom, could you post that to us? Meta Queen always be on point. I hope I ain't putting her on the spot because I know she ain't. But yeah, so yeah, definitely if you have an opportunity to join us in person, that'll be great. But if you can't, then we have other options, and the Voices of New Afrika, as well as NABA in general, the whole crew is going to be down there, and we're going to be conducting interviews, and we're going to try to maybe broadcast a show or two live from there. But you can actually attend the conference via Eventbrite. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. But yeah, we've been talking about reparations, and the interesting aspect to this story, the NAACP and we talked about this earlier, the NAACP responded to the recommendations from, the San Francisco board about reparation, and they basically rejected it. And they said that they preferred that reparations should not come in the form of cash. And let me try to pull it up so I can read exactly what they said. They recommended. Let me see. Said, we strongly believe that creating and funding programs that can improve the lives of those who have been impacted by racism and discrimination is the best path forward toward equality and justice. San Francisco NAACP President Amos Brown said in a statement, instead of direct cash payment, Brown and the NAACP called for investments in 5 key areas, those being education, jobs, housing, healthcare, and a cultural center for Blacks in the city. So, Grandmaster Teacher, you hearing what the NAACP is saying about their recommendation? What do you think about what they're saying?
Okay, so the NAACP does not represent us as a people, and the NAACP has never done anything independent. They've not created any independent, what do you call that, program or anything that that be on a continuing basis. Sound like they would just want more of the same. That's not reparation. Mm-hmm. Reparation is repairing, making sure and restoring those things that have been taken from us. And so, it's typical that an organization such as the NAACP would reject anything that would be done in terms of reparations. Although I agree that dollars are not going to be, should not be the essence of a reparations program. It's only a small part of the repairing of our lives and all those things. And we don't need any more programs under the capitalist system. We need, and the NAACP is archaic in that it's still remaining colored, in which we're saying we're New Africans. That we are, NAACP never did go black.
Grandmaster KP Teacher just got cut off. I'm trying to get you reconnected. Right. But Comrade Kakayi, and being that you off site, Comrade Kakayi, you don't necessarily have to mute your broadcast right now. So you can keep your mic open, Kakayi.
Okay.
So yeah, while I try to get Grandmaster Teacher back on, what's your perspective on
the NAACP? Well, okay. First of all, they're playing on our intelligence because number one, they don't think we understand that any program, any process that is funded to help support us as a people in some form or fashion is a part of reforming the system. It's a part of maintaining us in the system. Remember, I mentioned that as a consumer, we are the catalyst of the economic system. So in order for us to remain catalysts of this economic system, you have to do things to entice us to stay in the system. This is a form in which you can stay in the system without saying that altogether. And y'all have to bear with me. I am at a plantation, but in order to navigate, we have to do certain things because we are in a system. But let's face it. You get a program together, and we got Grandmaster Teacher back, so I'm gonna cut it short. But we got programs that have never benefited us because at the end of the day, we don't control it. We don't develop the rules, guidelines, regulations, policies, or procedures that affect that organization or that program, and hence we're finding ourselves in the same situation year after year, trying to reform something that we know is designed not to work for us. We're just spinning our wheels, people, and they are part of bamboozling us, like Malcolm X said, into believing they're doing something for us. But their whole goal is to make sure that we remain in the system so we can be the catalyst of the economic system.
All right, Grandmaster Teacher, you can.
Yes. So we okay. Let me say this. And they're against giving $5,000, giving $1,000 to people. Now I'm gonna say this. Even though we do not have any substantive or economic system or whatever, if we who are organizing our people on a New Africa basis, we can educate and re-educate our people to move to create business, to create with the 5,000 collectively come together with that 5,000. As an individual, there's nothing we can do in terms of even with $5,000. But if we can convince our people, to that could be utilized to set up economic system for us, for us as a people. Ultimately, talking about the 5 states. See what I'm saying is we can influence our people, and we can't give up on our people. We can't say that it's going to be the same. It's going to be this or that or whatever. It would be that if we do not ourselves put ourselves in a position where we can inform our people about what reparations should be about, and that's our job. Our job is to educate, the uneducated and to re-educate the miseducated. So if any funds or money can come, and we're able, and the reparations movement should be such that it's a collective movement to the point of where they just can't just hand out $5,000. I'm sure them Japanese that got them $18,000 probably invested in that whatever economic system that they had they still had left even after the so-called concentration camp. So let's say that if it was possible that the government would give us money, give us money, $5,000 each, 50,000 people in San Francisco. That's 50,000 times 5,000.
It was 5 million.
Oh, they said 5 million. I thought you said 5,000.
No, it was 5 million.
5 million. So 5 million. So if it's in that form of millions of dollars, then we have to be ourselves in a position in order to influence those individuals that get that money in San Francisco to move to the 5 states with their money. But although it was just for San Francisco, so they say they're going to buy a house for $1 and they're going to give $92,000 for a year, something like that, for a number of years. So, but I think that those of us who are out here talking about reparations, we must be in a position of beginning to educate our people about reparations, what reparations is, what it should be for. And Brother Kakai gave a basic, great definition of what reparations should do. Reparations should be for investment, should be, and this is what we have to be in the process of educating us, because we find these people running. It's going to be a gold rush to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
if that's passed in San Francisco, and think about the gold rush, what they did, with the gold, and the Mexicans in San Francisco, in California, that were their gold. They weren't able to get their gold, to keep their gold. They took their gold from them. The native people who would call themselves Mexicans. And then the native people who were they called Indians in San Francisco, they had an Indian extermination bill, in which they wanted to eliminate all the native people, and the ones they didn't eliminate, they took their children and gave them to white folks. So this is California. And this is what we got we had to be. This had to be suspect, as Brother Zakai said, in terms of just a scheme to keep the capitalist system going.
Yeah, and that's a very, very good point, because just real quick, in this capitalist system, they're basically going to try, any organization, any government, especially one that's been in power for so long. They understand the laws of development. They understand that things develop from the simple to the complex, and they also can understand that. And I'm gonna mute you, brother Kakai, because I think you're getting some background feed on you somewhere. But they understand that they don't want to have organic movements. They don't want to have like this whole reparation movement to be something organic that the people say, well, you know what, we're going to demand and we're going to bring about this and we're going to force you to do this. So the reason why I say this conversation is going to get louder and louder is because the louder the conversation gets from the people, the more the government says, okay, we're going to have to take control of this because we don't want this to develop into something that we are not controlling. So what they will do is they will take the forefront, take the lead of this conversation and try to present some type of, as Brother Kakai said, some type of stimulus package, something that can absorb within the system. In fact, if any way possible, make the system run more efficiently. And then, we'll be left out with things that are not real solutions, but they can say, well, hey, we gave you reparations, we did these things, and the things that they did not address the real core of the problem. And so that's why we have to be diligent, and we have to really pay attention to what they're trying to do. I'm in agreement with you when you say about the NAACP's response. It's fine I believe that reparations cannot come simply in the form of a cash payout. You know what I'm saying? I think that's part of it, but that that can't be the basis of it. That can't be the foundation of it. But what the NAACP proposed is simply just some reactionary something that is going to basically perpetuate the system and make things the same as always. Basically, reform a system that is created to exploit our people. Reform a system that was created in a way and produced the type of problems that made it necessary for reparations in the first place. So I'm with you, and I'm in agreement with you 100%. Did you want to add something to this, Brother Kakai?
Yeah, I wanted to add the fact that it would be interesting if, since the agenda for the Republic of New Afrika is to nation build, to attract all the people that they have, all new Africans back to the national territory, that the United States government in their quest to justify the damage that they've caused in our community, decided that, hey, we will pay off all your debts anywhere in the United States. We're going to start off with San Francisco first, and then we're going to purchase your home and property and land in the national territory so you can begin being a part of the process of the Republic of New Afrika rebuilding a new nation. Then that's something I would be able to entertain, because you're actually doing something, but you're not freed of your debt to us. That's just a small token of your attempt to repair the damage that you've done. And so we have millions of new Africans debt released in the United States, the portion of the Western Hemisphere that they call the United States. And then you purchase them, their property and home, and to relocate them back to the national territory. Then that's something I can entertain. But to just give us money and then say, 10 years later, well, we gave y'all money, all y'all did was spend it. All you black folks do is just buy cars and all. I don't want to hear all that. We need to focus on what our agenda is, and that's building a nation. And if you look at the Voices of New Afrika and the NABA commercials, you'll see that in one of the commercials, we tell you, we are nation builders. We built this nation. until it was the superpower that it is today. And now it's time for us to build our own nation with our own efforts and our own energy, like we did when we built the United States of America.
And speaking of that, we do have Nation Day coming up in a few weeks, and we're going to kind of talk about that in a little bit when we get right back from this. This is the Voices of New Africa, Free the Land.
What do you mean I'm suspended? You know, I work too hard to be treated this way. I love my students. This is not right, and you know it.
What's wrong, love?
They suspended me.
Why?
For teaching about Black Wall Street.
You mean that black town was destroyed by a group of white racists?
That's the one, child.
Hold on, let me get this straight. You spent a black teacher for teaching black history during Black History Month?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
How do you expect us to learn and build a better future for ourselves if you won't allow us to learn about our history?
Maybe this can help.
What's that?
A solution.
Nation building. For many of us, the idea of nation building is too difficult, too complicated. It's impossible. But when you think about it, we're already nation builders. In fact, for the past 400 years, we've managed to build the most powerful nation on the planet. Unfortunately, this nation continues to disrespect, exploit, and oppress us. Here's a thought. Maybe we should focus on building our own nation.
Join us March 31st through April 2nd in Charleston, South Carolina, as the Republic of New Afrika celebrates 55 years since the signing of our Declaration of Independence. Register on Eventbrite to attend in person and or online by typing in New African Nation Day 55. Also, find out more information on our website, pg-rna.com. Free the land by any means necessary. Free the land, free the land, free the land. We gotta free the land, free the land, free the land, free the land. We gotta free the land.
Yes, and one of our commercials, one of our publications for New African Nation Day, and I hear you, Quasi One Move. And I see Grandmaster Teacher is very popular today. People blowing him up. I guess they see him on the broadcast. Want to say hello. But I see you out there. You said love the commercial for New African Nation Day. I appreciate that coming. So make sure y'all have the opportunity. Y'all stop by. That's gonna be in South Carolina. March 31st through April 2nd. And if you can't attend, you can attend it through a Zoom conference, through eventbrite.com/ I think New African Nation Day. I'm not sure. I have to double check to make sure we get that information accurate. I want to give a big shout out to Madam President Sama. I see you checking in. Queen, how you doing? Meta Queen, you still out there doing your thing. Mama Ayo Deli, what's up? What's up, comrade? Mama Ayo, Madam Vice President. Just having a conversation. We've been talking about reparations. New African Nation Day is coming up. It's really important. You're going to see a whole novel out there in the house in force doing our thing. And I mean, it's an important event. And it's really important that we collectively organize and build for the future, because you know what, the work that we're doing is so crucial, so important for the future, you know, of our people, because we can't just continue to be leaving our children a legacy of slavery, a legacy where it is basically we are dependent upon our former enslavers, from the individuals who control the resources and institution at our detriment. We can't continue to be dependent upon them to provide us with the resources that control our lives, that we need to survive. You know, we got to be able to create our own, provide for ourselves, grow our own foods, provide medical attention for ourselves, provide a justice system for ourselves, create an economic system for ourselves, because all of these systems in the hand of the oppressor is created in a way that exploits us. I mean, we're exploited by our own medical system. We're exploited by our own educational system. We're miseducated by our own educational system. And I can't say our own educational system, but their educational system. So if we truly want to solve our problem, because we can't solve a problem like that. We can't solve. Only thing we can do is continue to struggle within their system. We got to have, like the brother said, self-determination. As a matter of fact, Quasi, I met you at the last Nation Day. That's right. Yeah, I did get an opportunity to converse and kick it with you at our last Nation Day. That's right. How you doing, brother? Matter of fact, when I talked to you, you was talking about self-determination. So you extremely consistent on that. Matter of fact, I need to post some of your comments from the interview when I interviewed with you, because you had excellent perspective. But good to see you, brother. Good to see you again. So you know, we're gonna be attending Nation Day. It should be a good time and a good opportunity for us to strategize collectively and get together. And it's really cool because, like, a lot of time, that's the only time we get to really see a lot of people that we network with online. It's an opportunity for us to really meet in person. You know what I'm saying? We got, you know, our particular groups that we always kind of, you know, meet with, but you know, that's a good opportunity to meet with the brothers from New York, from Detroit, from, you know, all over, from Mexico, Puerto Rico. You know, everybody converged in Nation Day, and you know, and that's what time it is. But yeah, you got any thoughts about anything we've been talking about? I know you've been kind of occupied with individuals calling you, hitting you up, Grandmaster Teacher.
Okay, like I say, we are wide open in terms of trying to deal with the reparation question. What we have to do is make sure that we have control from our community about, you know, over how we're going to receive it, any kind of reparation, or any kind of offer of reparation. And like I say, I know from personal experience in organizations in the past around reparations, we find people we find even forces, countries, so-called country forces, divided up, you know, trying to talk about, you know, who's going to represent our people in terms of the question of reparations. That's why I keep calling for it, that we have to have a united front. That united front has to become the controller of all the conversation that takes place in terms of reparations. Otherwise, you're going to have people running, like I said, you know, San Francisco has got this offer, and you got people trying to move to California for gold. You know, San Francisco, that was the original place for gold. You know, and they ran over the native people. You know, when they went to get the gold in San Francisco, and that's the same thing that happened in reparations. You find people running over to get, you know, whatever. And I heard the brother earlier talking about, you know, COVID. In the COVID situation, there were a lot of people who fraudulent, you know, receipt of money, you know, that was supposed to go to other people. And these are the kind of things that can happen. So we have to make sure that we are cautious in our approach to these kind of offers that are coming forward. We know why they're coming forward. And we know that some people have a guilt complex in terms of, you know, whether we've been treated, you know, but we're not asking for a guilt complex. We're asking for to take back what we have, you know, has been taken from us to the extent that we can get it back. So we'll be able to organize ourselves, and it is a bad idea to talk about doing, because we're in a system that talks about individualism and once the individual, and not just us, but any individual that's under the capitalist system, is looking to try to make themselves millionaires and billionaires. They want to be part of the whole system, and we're talking about breaking up the system in terms of us moving out of the system. And so consequently, we know that the reparation calls from the city governments and the county governments and across the country is not to break up, but to try to pull us in a reform system so that we'll be able to continue to operate in a manner that we have not been able to operate, in the past.
Definitely, and because as we've been saying that, any reparations that is not based on us gaining control over the institutions and resources that controls our lives is not going to really address the problem. It's not going to solve the problem. Right. Because like in our social, like the New African Creed says clearly, our oppression exists because we lack the ability to control our own lives. And we don't address that fundamental problem, then you can give us money, and we go back to a community that is not controlled by us, that are controlled and exploited by individuals who don't care about us, who benefit from our exploitation. Where if you give our money, well, then with the correct mindset, we could collectively use the money to build ourselves up. But the reality is if we dealing with reparations, then that should be a part of it. That should be a part of it. So if we're not really addressing the issues, then it's not going to bring about the solutions that we desire. It's not going to repair our conditions, and we got to be clear about that. We have to educate ourselves thoroughly. We have to have a proper education on what has happened to us, what are our needs, how did we get into this situation? Because if we're not properly educated, then they will present something before us that sounds really, really good. I mean, hey, $5 million sounds really, really good. I know, you know what I'm saying? But if you're not properly educated, then we could accept some things that will draw us, back into a system that is dependent upon our exploitation. And we'll be in the same condition. We'll be a permanent underclass under a system that continues to exploit us and really want to throw us away when they finish using us up to it's nothing left. So
it's piecemeal anyway.
What was that?
Piecemeal. They're doing it piecemeal.
Mm-hmm.
Which means it'll never come and never amount to what it should be.
Exactly. Something that sounds good and get you really excited, but it never will fulfill the promises. It'll be, they're like, European people got a long history of that. You know what I'm saying? A long history of promising things and giving trick gifts, and it never materialized. And if it does, it only seems is designed and set up in a way that serves a system and makes them more effective and efficient at the exploitation of indigenous people that happened throughout wars. When even when many African countries won their nationality, the European people came in and said, hey, you know what? We're going to rebuild your infrastructure. We're going to do this. Just sign this and you'll get this loan from the IMF, from the World Bank, and we're going to give you everything you need to make you a world power, just like everybody else. And the gift and this loan came with all kind of stipulations. You had to turn over your utilities and the resources within your community so they can be controlled by Western powers, and you still have colonialism, except it's just reformed and it just takes a more efficient look, where now it is you have a black person in power, or a black face in power, but they're white hands that are pulling the strings. So I'm just urging us to be careful and make a critical analysis of anything that they put before us. You know what I'm saying? And with this conversation of reparation, we got to make sure that we are educating people, that we're the one that's saying, look, can't have this reparation if we're not talking about land. Land got to be the foundation. Land has to be at the forefront. If we ain't talking about that, then, we're not really talking about anything that's going to really bring about a real long-term solution. We're only going to be dealing with some things that's going to going to pacify you. We're going to give you a pacifier. We're going to put some honey on top of it. So it's going to be sweet and it's going to taste really good to you, but it ain't really providing any substance to you. And I see Madam Vice President out there. She says PGRNA has a reparation statement and a plan forward to the plebiscite and the world court. We still charge genocide again, the New African. So we still charge genocide. Definitely, that's why it's so important that we all networking and we're working together. And I think, this particular Nation Day is one that is really crucial and really important. So we got to make this count. You know what I'm saying? We really got to make this count because it's an important part of our history. This time in history is very important and very crucial to our future because we got to really be serious about nation building. We have to really be serious about nation building. The time is right. The generation is not right. The people are right. The people are ready, and the people are us. So it's our responsibility to really put these things in motion. Did you want to add to this? I know I'm just kind of talking, comrade.
Yeah, I think, like I say, we have to have control over the discussion. The African people should have, new African people have to have control over that. And like we said, we're talking about the UN. We know that the United States government by itself is not going to do reparations. Because reparations is going to have to be imposed. It has to be, taken from, like I said, that's what Malcolm was saying, going to the UN, going to, to an international, group of people who will be objective in terms of understanding what we should get for reparations as a people. And so I think that, like I say, all of this talk, and that's all it is trying to get us to split in all kind of ways in terms of piecemeal, reparation. And so, you whatever state or whatever city that you're going to, that you're living in, all of them we talk about reparations for that particular area or whatever. And so therefore, we will not get the true benefits of real reparations because there are people who are going to make a grievance, in spite of what we're saying in terms of the Republic of New Africa or as Pan-Africans or whatever, this cat is out of the bag, and they're going to, if there's anything going to do, they're going to split us all up in about 1 million different pieces, on reparations. And we will not get the full benefit. So we have to begin to warn our people in different areas, like Shelby County, because in Shelby County is one of the places where they're talking about reparations, what happened in Memphis and Shelby County. And these are pitfalls, because what happened to us as a people happened fully to us as a people. It did not happen to us as individuals. It happened to us as a people, as a whole people. We were a whole people that were kidnapped and brought over here and forced to work for and build the United States. I'm not proud of building the United States. I don't like the United States myself. Okay, that's personally, I don't. And I don't think we should be talking about, well, we proudly build them. No. This capitalist system, we were forced to build. We were forced to build a situation that was against our will and against our being, our very being as a people. And so consequently, I know deep in my heart that the United States will never, that these capitalists will never repent from what they have done. And we have to put them in a position where they must do it. It's a forced thing. It's not a thing of them being sorry or them, you know what I'm saying? It's a thing that under the light of the world system that exists, that we must begin to have that pressure face where they must do. It's not something that they want to do, but something that they must do. And reparation is a must and not a not a want. You know, these are the kind of things that we have to begin to educate our people on, and and they miseducate the ones that are running, trying to get these, see these proposals of reparations. I warn. You got to warn them that that this stuff is not going to work in the way that it's supposed to happen for us as a people.
I'll say, well said, and I agree with that. And like you said, and I think it's important to understand that these proposals for reparation, this is something that didn't come from the government. You know what I'm saying? This came from some individuals who were selected to research and come up with some possible solutions on reparations. So this ain't one, like you said, it wasn't like the government said, you know what, we did them black folks wrong. Let's do right by them. No, that wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? And even this plan, even though we feel that it does not properly address certain key issues, in forms of land and things of that nature. But even this plan, you know what I'm saying, is getting all type of backlash and negative feedback. So I just to reiterate what you said, it's going to be our job, our responsibility to force them to do what is right. You know what I'm saying? And we, like we're saying, we believe strongly that the government never really going to go for this. So we got to educate the people properly. We got to make them understand, since this is this is a topic that is within the mainstream now, then we have to utilize that to educate people on why we actually need reparations, how they have destroyed our communities, how they have forced us in a situation where we had to create independent black communities. And once we did and they thrived and we became wealthy and successful, having our own cities, our own communities, our own townships, they viciously destroyed us. They viciously attacked us. We got to educate our people on all of these things, the history that has been hidden. The history that has been hidden for centuries and centuries that we never know about. Most people have never heard of something called the Devil's Punch Bowl. You can go right in Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi, but I was a grown man before I ever heard of what happened down in Natchez, Mississippi, by the Union Army. These are the so-called folks that after the Civil War rounded up all these thousands and thousands of black people because they was going into a city that the white people didn't want them going into, and they rounded them up and they put them into concentration camps, and then they didn't even give them the very food, clothing, and water, the things they needed to survive. And the only resources they gave these thousands and thousands of black people was shovels in order to bury their dead. You never hear about these things in history, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of examples of our people being brutalized, our land being stolen. Central Park in America, that was a black community, successful black community that was stolen from us. You have cities that are underwater. They make lakes out of black communities because they stole the land. We know about Rosewood. We know about Black Wall Street, but there are so many that we don't know about. We know about what happened to Emmett Tills, but there are a lot of Emmett Tills that you never hear about. And there are Emmett Tills that are still being created today, right now, as we speak. There are parents that they're burying their sons and their daughters because they've been murdered by this system of oppression, the system of hate and white supremacy, and they have been struggling just to get some form of justice. So reparations ain't just about something that happened in the past. What's going on today is a continuation of what has happened for over 500 years in this country. So you damn right, reparations are due to us. They owe us. So regardless of whether they want to do it or not, it is our job and responsibility to put the pressure on. And at minimum, since we want to talk about reparations, we got to educate the people on why and make sure that the people understand the vicious nature of this system. So we put the pressure on the government. So when they say, no, we allow the devil to show no harm, then they say, okay, all right, y'all don't want to do right, then what are we going to do? And that moves us closer to that next step of development, and which will force us to do what we have to do. You know what I'm saying? We give the government the opportunity to do right. Give them the opportunity. You okay? Okay. All right. Reparations. You know, because we ain't trying to reform your system no more. We ain't trying to do that no more. We've been there, done that. See, it don't work. We're still suffering under your system today. So, all right, we want to talk about reparations. There go your chance. There go your chance. You know what I'm saying? And people, you see, we trying to be right by this. Here is the opportunity. Make it right. But don't make it right with some pacifier to use to shut us up. Make it right for real. Let's do what we need to do, because you have damaged our entire nation of people. You damaged people globally all over the world, that we are still suffering from the effects of the things that you have done over 500 years ago until today. So, you know, we want to deal with reparations. All we're basically saying is, hey, make it right. Make it right. And I'm going to yield on that. Hold on, Kakai. I see you on mute. All right, there you go.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting how as New Africans, as we try to get what we deserve back, people try to get us to, and even our own kind who don't understand our history. I'm not going to ask anybody to go through what my family went through and accept the person. Like for instance, my cousin, Malcolm Little at the time. All right. However you want to put it. They assassinated him. And you want me to be their friend and be a part of their system after I know they assassinated my cousin. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-grandmother's sister was raped by them. And they were part of the official authority of their police force or whoever you have, the plantation owner. And you expect me to want to be a part of their society and be a part and accept what they got going on after they done did that to my family. They done beat my little cousin up, Emmett Till, beat him brutally. And then you want me to shake their hands and be friends with them and live under the same roof they live under. You kill you exile my great grandfather Marcus Garvey for no reason at all. Find out you trumped up charges and called it mail fraud to get them out the country, and you want me to be a part of your system and your nation. You killed my brother over here, whoever it was. What I'm saying to you, black people, New Africans, don't let nobody talk you into being friends with somebody who has proven to be your enemy, not day after day, week after week, month after month. I'm talking about century after century. They've proven that they don't want you, they don't like you, they are your enemy, and yet we have brothers and sisters and white folks talking about what we can do to make this country better. We already made you superpower, and you still ain't treating it. You had every opportunity over the past 500 years to do what's right, and you ain't did it yet. It's time for us to stop depending on the great white hope to change our conditions and think of that black queen and king who have created civilizations and fall back on the strength of our people and develop that nation called the Republic of New Afrika. Stop it, people. I'm never gonna like her because they done did all that I mentioned to you, to my family. And I'm not gonna be friends and make friends with somebody who I've known to do that to my family. And none of you should want them to be your friend or go break your back, go whatever they call it. Go out of your way to be their friend when you know who they are. Like Maya Angelou has always said, when they show you who they are the first time, believe them.
All right. You got any response, Anything you want to say about that, Grandmaster Teacher?
Yeah, I want to say that if we are going to be able to do the things that will be necessary for us, we're going to have to understand that we're talking about a system, and we're talking about contracted. We're talking about the struggle being protracted. And being protracted means that we got to do our strategies and our tactics and all the things that will be necessary for us at any given moment, at any given time, and be prepared for the day of liberation. I want to say that, we've exhausted even our emotions toward those people. And so consequently, but here's what we got to do too. We got to understand that there are some of our people are just going to go with them if they still exist. We cannot force even our people to come to the point of understanding of nationhood and necessity for nationhood. And we're only going to grab some even after we have achieved nationhood. Because they have made such a belief in the system that our people do not have the information. They're going to go get a coffee.
Okay. Let me go take over for you.
Yeah.
You all right? Yeah, you gonna get some water. Or while Grandmaster Teacher getting some water. But they're definitely agreeing 100%. I want to go to the Facebook audience real quick. I see everybody's out there chiming in, having a good conversation, good discussion. Joe Gonzalez checking in. How you doing, brother Joe Gonzalez? Good to hear from you always. Revolutionary greetings, comrade. Glad to be listening in today. Stay strong, brothers and sisters, in all of our endeavors. You damn right. I always love to hear from that brother. That brother is always in the community doing great things. And I look forward to working in person, hand to hand with that brother in the streets, making it happen. Because I know that's one of them true soldiers right there. Madam Vice President, in truth, our brothers and sisters who claim original status, indigenous status, Native American status should all join our battle to free the land, to end capitalism, neocolonialism, white supremacy, and racism. And I'm agreeing with that 100%. That's something we can't be dividing ourselves over, who you think brung us over here. You know what I'm saying? You think whether you believe that we was here already, or you think, whatever it is, because, I always thought that was a ridiculous argument for something. That was ridiculous for us to try to divide ourselves under. All of us was under this system of chattel slavery. Really, this system of chattel slavery, oppression, neocolonialism, capitalism, all of those things in which you named, have devastated not only us, but the entire world. So we definitely should be united in this fight. No doubt. Thank you for that comment, Madam Vice President. Freedom Power, how you doing? Freedom Power, always good to hear from you, brother. Preach, Kevin Prophecy Theory. My slave names out in the but yeah, we have to create. Let me do it real quick. Let me see. We have to create the conditions and make things so difficult that the colonizer, where they will see full reparations as a discount. And I'm definitely with that. Definitely. So yeah, that's something that's something that a strategy that we have to do. We have to hold their foot to the fight. You know what I'm saying? Whenever, and that's a political strategy. I always talk about agitate, educate, organize, mobilize. That is a formula that is used in order to create successful movements. It's a formula that has been done time after time after time, and it is successful, and it's worked in the past and will work in the future. So this whole conversation about reparations, one thing it's going to do is going to agitate people and give us an opportunity to put the system on trial. So that's what we got to do, put the system on trial. And once you put the system on trial, the evidence is out there. the conclusion is already a foregone conclusion because they already been on trial. It's just that the people, the masses of the people, don't know about it. They don't know the things that the United States have been condemned with. They don't know the things that the United States have been found guilty of. They don't understand that because we have been thoroughly miseducated by their educational system. So in order to really deal with that, we got to put these people on trial and let the truth be known. Let the people know the truth, and it's our responsibility to put it out there, to put so much pressure on them. They, you know what I'm saying? They got to, if they deny, they gonna have to deny the undeniable. They have to deny the undeniable. Make them show their true colors. Be like, okay, we putting it out there. We're showing the people and showing the world exactly what you've done and what you owe us. Everybody know what you owe us. So if you choose to reject it, then show your horn, show who you really are. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta put that pressure on them like that. I appreciate them that analysis from you, brother. Freedom Power. Joe Gonzalez, not asking for reparations, demanding reparations, or face repercussion to those colonizers that continue to ignore recognition of our revolutionary comrades that are standing in solidarity, no longer accepting to not make right by the people by any means necessary. Liberation is at hand. Boots on the ground is mandatory, and demanding reparations. You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? You're right, because the reparations is something we never should be asking for. It's something that was due for us, that should have been given to us many hundred years ago, centuries ago. In fact, the things that make it necessary for reparations is something that should have never happened. Our ancestors should have never endured and went through the type of things that we have went through, that we have faced under this system of oppression, white supremacy, colonialism, neo-colonialism, capitalism. We should have never faced that. You know what I'm saying? It is inhumane. It is crimes against humanity. It is genocide on a global scale. So you're right. It ain't no asking for reparation. It's a demanding. Sagad, the wise one. How you doing? Nephew? It's good to see you checking in. Feed the land to you, brother. That's the youth right there. Good to see the young people checking in, man. That's a powerful young man right there. Powerful young man. I've seen him grow from a little bitty something to a big something. And man, keep doing your thing, brother. Keep being that shining example for the youth. Yeah, let's say dismantling the settler state. Damn right. Damn right. So yeah, I got let me add a Grandmaster Teacher back to the conversation. So yeah, you back in there now. So yeah, you can pick up. You can.
So the United States is a settler colony. That's what people fail to realize. That when you talk about settlers, talk about the 13 colonies, it's a settler colony, and native people were exterminated for the most part. But they're still existing in reservations or areas that restricted, and they try to restrict them in the most, the barren places. And so even now, the native people are, have health problems, and have, all kinds of problems, same problems that we have here. We Africans have in many instances, and maternity. What they call that, death of mothers, and Memphis still has one of the highest death of mothers, mothers who are giving birth. And all of these things, all of these conditions, conditions of a settler state, because everything is, we're at the bottom of everything, and we are forced to work. The reason that the native people are not here, basically here, is because many of them will work to death in the Western Hemisphere. And that's why you have, islands of people that don't have native, they have Africans, like Jamaica and places like that. And this is where we have to really understand genocide, what genocide is, and what the young brother just said, talking about settler colonialism is. Australia is a settler colony. The United States, Australia had the same history of extermination of black people. They call Aborigines. And so the Europeans are in New Zealand and all kinds of places and stuff like that. And the United States is the main colony, the main settler colony in the world, and promotes all of these, situations of African people throughout the world. But it's the first British settler colony. And many of the people who came to places, states like Georgia, were criminals, who had no other place to go. They forced them to leave Britain to come here and create colonies. And these are the kind of things we had to know the history of where we are. And then when we're talking about reparation and the demand for reparation, and why it must be demanded, and not something that is just offered to us, an offer that does not come to where it should anyway. So I don't care how many millions of dollars that they may say they want to give out, it will never be enough. And so that's why I go back to the United Front, those people that want to talk about reparations should do it under a United Front. And we cannot let nobody represent, we cannot let the civil rights leaders, any of those people, civil rights organizations, represent or misrepresent us in this reparation thing. That's why I was harsh on the NAACP. As far as I'm concerned, NAACP, should have gone out of existence a long time ago. But it still exists. So we're going to have to probably include some of the leadership of the NAACP within the United Front so that we won't be arguing about reparations among ourselves and then going to our enemy, and to lessen whatever chance of reparation may come.
Definitely. I ain't heard from you in a minute, Kakaya. You got anything you want to add?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got
you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, first I want to give a shout out to the brother. Yeah, I got a chance to deal with him. Kwazi Akwamu. He was a brother that we met one time. You might have met him at last Nation Day, but the first time we met him, we was up in the Nation Day where the Nation Day was first taken. I don't want to say where he's from. But in any event, where the first annual Nation Day took place, that city.
Oh,
that's
I got you.
Brother. And he has I don't know if it's still around, but he had the New African Voices newspaper. But in any event, glad to see the brother watching. It goes without saying, man. This is the time that we as black men, New African men, have to be able to stand up and be a part of this movement and help lead this movement in a direction in which we can protect and defend our women, children, and elders. We can no longer be sitting passive. A lot of times, a lot of the things that we have to do can't be broadcast, can't be said, can't be done, can't be known, and but we have to be a part of it. I know one of the things that we've been talking about is having our own land, getting our own national territory back, just like they did in Oklahoma when they accused us, a brother, of doing something to a white woman, just like they did right there, but in a greater extent when we are in the right as a group of people, they send in their military. They always let it be known that when it comes down between us and their white U.S. citizens, they're going to take the side of the white U.S. citizens. So as we begin to take our land back, best believe they're going to be on the side of the white citizens of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. We're giving them a peaceful way out right now by demanding that they give us reparations, which includes land. And all they have to do is give us that. Otherwise, as men, we have to be prepared. Just be prepared to protect and defend your children, your women, and your elderly. So we need to start talking to our young brothers, our children, and make sure we do activities that will train them to be able to protect and defend themselves. Take your children out hunting and teach them how to hunt. Take your children on hikes in the wilderness to teach them how to survive in the wilderness. And I know you and I, Brother Prophecy, was a part of doing that and getting our children into martial arts, outdoors, survival type things. We got to get our people prepared because it's inevitable that we're going to have to defend ourselves. It's inevitable. They're not going to choose us over their white brothers and sisters that are here down in the national territory. And if you think they are, you're sadly mistaken. And anybody that got a problem with that, then you're not a part of our goal of getting our own independent sovereign nation.
And the thing that I will say about that, I think it's important that as a community that we are making collective efforts to have the community basically prepared for any situation. You know what I'm saying? Any situation. I'm not just talking about like get ready for the white man, but we have to have communities, programs that prepare our communities for emergencies, regardless of what that emergency is, whether it's a national disaster or a natural disaster or whatever it is. We have to have programs where we're teaching and learning how to survive, learning how to defend yourself, defend your family, protect yourself, how to operate in a bug out situation or a bug in situation, knowing what those situations are. That's just something that we should be doing as a community, period, regardless to what the situation is. Yeah, that's something that we need to do because it's basically our responsibility, because we understand that we live in a very, very violent world, a very dangerous world, and we've seen time and time again that we cannot depend upon our oppressor to come to our aid. I mean, we learned that in Hurricane Katrina. We saw our people who were suffering and dying and drowning like it was some type of reality show. So we have to collectively be prepared to deal with whatever comes into our community and is a threat. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way I'll put that. We have to be prepared for everything, and we have to do it. We have to prepare the whole community for that. And I'm a yield on that. You got anything you want to add?
Yeah, political education is important. And once we understand that who we are, who our enemy is, that's political education. And once we learn we understand that, that we do have enemies, then we have to prepare to counter whatever that enemy is going to, put in our way. But as a community, we had to build ourselves up political education and say we are new Africans. That is out there. We have any questions about our identity. If we don't know that we're new Africans, we're gonna have a problem. And one of the problems we have now is people don't want to recognize that they are African or they are new African, that they are you know, that and then we're still saying we're still falling back on this word black, you know. Even though we talk that when we talk about black, we talk about billions of people in the world, but we are African. We cannot be confused any longer about our identity. Once we understand that, then we'll be able to tackle any problem that we find. But we're gonna have to have our militias and our armies and all that kind of thing set up for ourselves, our own defense.
Yeah, definitely. It's about time for us to get out of here. I'm going to go to a couple of more comments before we get out of here.
Had a really good discussion, lively conversation, and y'all been engaging a lot, brother. Quasi, reparation means repair for injuries inflicted. The primary harm has been the robbing of us of our self-determination, control over our destiny, and I definitely agree with that, brother. I mean, like the New African Creed says, the reason for our oppression is because we lack the ability to control our lives, and we got to, you know, it starts and it ends with control. If we ain't got no control, then everything else is just, you know, a pacifier to get you to shut the hell up. So we got to have real solutions, you know, not these things that they're just talking about. So I appreciate that. You see, also, that is why we seek to free the land, to regain control over our destiny. That's right, control over our destiny. And you've been real active, comrade. All settlers are also guilty of genocide. Yeah. Definitely. And that's a word that we got to make sure that we use it, because what they have done globally is commit genocide. So, you know, understand, you know, we don't sugarcoat anything. Hold them accountable for what they actually doing, you know. Melly Queen, the total destruction of a nation of people can never be repaid, but we are going to have to take what is owed, what we're owed. All right, Melly Queen. Let me see, Joe Gonzalez. In speaking about unity and working with many ethnic organizations, especially in the Rainbow Coalition, just think Chicanos are 50 million strong, more than population in Canada and Australia. Now we add the oppressed people as the New Africans and American Indian movement. We definitely outnumber the blue-eyed colonizers' strength in numbers. Change will come. All power to the people. Free the land. Free the land. Yes, sir. And one thing you have to understand is that globally, that's why one of the reasons why we advocate for human rights and not just civil rights. Globally, they are minority anyway. You know what I'm saying? We outnumber them 10-1. You know, it's a global community. We have to understand that we are a global community. Sometimes they like to look at us as, oh, you're just minority. You're only a minority when you're under the authority of the United States of America. But when you look at yourself as a global citizen, a citizen of the world, we ain't minorities, and we outnumber them. And the thing about it is, even within the United States of America, that's changing. That's changing rapidly. That's why they're so afraid. You see so many of these ideological white supremacists out here, you know, coming out in the open. Let me see. Yes, I argued this all the time. Very important, and I'm agreeing with you. And I'm not sure what you was talking about, what we were talking about when you wrote that, but yeah, definitely, no doubt. But yeah, it's about time for us to get up out of here. We've been out on for about an hour and a half, and we want to thank everybody for joining in the conversation. We had a lively discussion, of course, with the most brilliant, politically aware audience in the land. As always, we have no choice but have a lively discussion. But I'm gonna open it up to you, Grandmaster Teacher. You got any final words for today?
Yes, we must begin to understand that we as a people, we have a real good record in terms of being able to support movements and things, in spite of the fact that some movements were not to the point of where we need to be. But I take people back to the Garvey movement all the time, because this was a time in which we were at one point in time one of the most uneducated people, and we were able to, and that's why we talk about being educated and uneducated, because the uneducated came educated under the Garvey movement, the UNIA, and it shows that when you are educating the people and doing political education, that the people will respond. And it's only through the people that you're going to have any kind of movement that is going to, move mountains, if you want to say it, put it in a kind of lyrical way. And so we're standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, and people who are before us, immediately before us. And we got to begin to be positive in our outlook in terms of the people. We can't be keeping on talking about the people ain't gonna, and we got to stop talking about black men. That the black men have stood up under every generation, and because we run across some black men that may be cowardly or whatever, but they do not represent black men. They do not represent African men. African men have an outstanding role in bringing us to the level where we are today. And then we got to begin, but all of it, the woman, the African woman, worked alongside the slave. There was no separation of the African woman in the work under the so-called child slavery system. And so we black men who want to go back and talk about how proud we are, black men, that we should be doing and protecting our sisters fighting alongside of us. And that's why we talk about Harriet Tubman and Ida B. Wells and, Queen of Satyawa, Nzinga, and all that. And so what I'm saying is that our women are not going to be below us or anything like that. And we're talking about protecting each other and not just talking about we going to protect our women. We have to protect ourselves as people. And this is what I want to say, because I'm hearing too many black men who are in social conscious talking about how we're going to protect the black woman has always been a side of us, and we have to begin. And it's only this capitalist system that has divided us in any kind of way.
Definitely. Brother Kakai, you got anything you want to add?
I agree with Grandmaster Teacher on that. We as a people have always had a togetherness as far as our men and women are concerned. What I try to do is encourage more participation of both parties. But we're going to have to recognize that if somebody comes at us for what we say what we deserve, then we need to be ready to do everything possible in our power to preserve our people. But the most important thing is that we must learn from past revolutions, successful past revolutions. And we can begin a journey of becoming more united as a people if we take a page from the Haitian Revolution. And there's a number of things we could fall back on to learn from. But one of the important things I take from the Haitian Revolution is that when it came down to taking care of business, they put the religion on the shelf. They did not divide themselves with religion because they knew that they had a common enemy. So let's take a page from all of our successful revolutionaries when we decide that we must do what we have to do as a people to get what's rightfully ours.
Definitely. I'm gonna mute you for a second, but yeah, definitely, I'm agreeing with what everybody says 100%. What's up, Bo Money? I see you out there. He says, "Free the land, reparation for the new African nation." You damn right. Joe Gonzalez, the woman has always been the backbone to the family and community. Free the land, free the land, free the land. Sending love and strength, comrade, and definitely agreeing with that. Madam President Samat, keep working, refining, growing, developing, expanding, community, clearly communicating, mastering time, mastering our environments, and mastering self. FTL, y'all, free the land, y'all. Damn right. Well said, well spoken. And I guess I'm gonna end it with something simple. I mean, we got to be clear. You know what I'm saying? We always been clear, regardless to what anybody else say. What the system say, what the system advocate, what are they talking about, giving us reparations, what they talking about, never giving us reparations. We got to be clear about what we got to do, and we got to get land. We have to control the things that control our lives. We have to create institutions. We have to bring about systems that benefit us. We got to do that. We have to do that. Now, if they talking about reparations and all of that type of stuff, okay, it had to be on the lines of what we are trying to develop, of the things that we know and we understand clearly, that's going to actually solve the problem. It's actually going to address the problems. You know what I'm saying? We can't be playing with this, because regardless to what they do, you know what I'm saying, it's got to be ultimately, it's going to fall on us to create the blueprint, or update the blueprint, because the blueprint's already been created, and bring into existence these things and carry on our struggle and our legacy, and ultimately free the land. You know what I'm saying? Because they gonna do, they gonna do whatever they gonna do, but we ain't dependent on that. We ain't dependent on them to do right, because they ain't never did right. We gonna put the pressure on them. We gonna make them, if they gonna do wrong by us, then we gonna expose them for who they are. But at the same time, we ain't necessarily dependent on them to try to free us, because they ain't never freed us. We've always played an active role in our freedom, to the point that we've been today and beyond, and we got to be the ones who take the forefront and the lead on all of that. I'm Brother Prophecy. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you, Comrade Kaya. I think you just fell off the scene. And Grandmaster Teacher, Fadali, free the land, y'all. Free the land. We'll see y'all again next week. Well, we'll see y'all tomorrow on the New African Perspective, y'all. I think next week we'll probably have, I'm not sure, but we're gonna have Dr. Umar Johnson on the show when we have the New African. That's the 1 Million Black Fathers March. They're gonna be on one of our broadcasts, but y'all just tune in. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of things in the community we're gonna have going on. So free the land, comrade. See y'all again.
I understand you were just doing your job, but that still doesn't make you right. Oh, I'm definitely fighting this. Okay, thank you.
Babe, you ever thought about doing something different?
What you talking about, babe?
I mean, look, police shoot us dead in the streets. Corporations poison our food and our water with lead and other chemicals. They flood our streets with drugs and lock us up for trying to survive. And now we can't teach our own history, black history. It's clear the system ain't made for us.
So what we're supposed to do, babe?
Maybe it's time we start our own system. Pack your bags.
Why?
We're going to South Carolina.
Nation building. For many of us, the idea of nation building is too difficult, too complicated. It's impossible. But when you think about it, we're already nation builders. In fact, for the past 400 years, we've managed to build the most powerful nation on the planet. Unfortunately, this nation continues to disrespect, exploit, and oppress us. Here's a thought. Maybe we should focus on building our own nation.
Join us March 31st through April 2nd in Charleston, South Carolina, as the Republic of New Afrika celebrates 55 years since the signing of our Declaration of Independence. Register on Eventbrite to attend in person and or online by typing in New African Nation Day 55. Also, find out more information on our website, pg-rna.com. Free the land by any means necessary. Free the land.